$1 million guaranteed. Adam also reports wideouts A.J. Brown of the Titans, Terry McLaurin of the Commanders, and Deebo Samuel of the 49ers will not get on the field during voluntary offseason programs. They're all looking for new contracts. McLaurin does plan to report. Colin Kaepernick says he'd accept being a backup NFL quarterback.
I know I have to find my way back in.
Okay.
So, yeah, if I have to come in as a backup, that's fine. But that's not where I'm staying. And when I prove that I'm a starter, I want to be able to step on the field as such. I just need that opportunity to walk through the door.
Colin Kaepernick on the I Am Athlete podcast. There are two new well-known minority owners of the Seattle Kraken, former Seattle Seahawks running back Marshawn Lynch and Seattle-born rapper Macklemore. The Kraken are missing the playoffs in their first NHL season.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
In terms of Robbie Anderson, everybody talks to one another. And so I'm sure Jarvis Landry, OBJ, have spoke to Robbie Anderson of what they feel about Baker Mayfield.
The guys will be back Tuesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Hope you had a great Easter. If you had a long weekend, hope you enjoyed it. Glad to be back. Or we never left. We were here Friday, but hopefully glad to have you back if you were not here prior. A lot to get to today. What a mostly disappointing weekend on the field, on the court. Saved by the Pelicans on Friday night, beating the Clippers to get into the 8th seed, winning the play-in, which was phenomenal. Willie Green's speech to the team afterwards, Mrs. Benson's speech in the locker room was awesome. So much to wrap your arms around. Of course, they dropped game 1 to Phoenix last night, and if you were here with us on Friday, we talked about it. This is not a series I thought the Pelicans would or could win. I mean, of course you can. You roll the ball out there, anything can happen, but the Suns are the best team in the NBA, and my guess is they'll prove it here. I would love to see the Pels win a game in this series, but that's not important. I mean, the fact that this team went out there from where they started, we all know the numbers, not having Zion all year, not having Brandon Ingram for more than 20 games, and to find yourself into the play-in and then to win it, and especially to withstand a 34-6 run like they did on Friday night against the Clippers, on the road in a do-or-die scenario, to come back and win that game was awesome. So much to build on for the future, so much to be excited about. Disappointing last night, not altogether unexpected. Chris Paul took over late. Suns are great. I think they're going to win the NBA title this year. But a lot of fun, though, man. Just a lot of fun on Friday to watch them win that, to win the play-in, punch their ticket. Graff is with the team in Phoenix. He'll be with us in about 90 minutes from right now. LSU baseball took it on the chin, gets swept at Arkansas. We'll get there in about 10 minutes from right now. I'm going to start, though, with a little football news. If you haven't heard yet, LSU running back, sophomore Corey Kiner, who had been running the 2 behind John Emery, he has entered the transfer portal, posted the announcement on all the social media earlier today, thanking everyone for the opportunity academically and athletically at LSU and all the staff members, but announcing that his time at LSU has come to an end, that he will move on to the next chapter of his life, and he's entering the transfer portal. So Corey Kiner enters the transfer portal. A couple of things here. During his freshman season, fans and media had really clamored for Corey Kiner. During the first half of the season, which was a struggle for LSU. But during the first half of the season, Kiner was really the most consistent back. If you go back and look at Ty Davis-Price over the first 5 games, it really wasn't good. Ty Davis-Price had 45 rushes for 140 yards and averaged 3.1 yards per carry to start last season. I mean, it was just an objectively bad start to the year for Ty Davis-Price, yet they kept running him out there, and every time Kiner got his chance, he popped off. The Central Michigan game was by far his best game of the early season, and then you had, like in that same Central Michigan game, Ty Davis-Price had 6 rushes for 4 yards. And fans had kind of seen enough at that point and wanted more of Kiner. Well, when you hit the halfway part of the season, really the loss at Kentucky, when Ty Davis-Price in that second half really got going, ran for 147 yards, and then a week later, he set the LSU single-game rushing record with 36 rushes for 287 yards against Florida. And then Ty Davis-Price had a fantastic second half of the season. He ends up averaging 4.8 yards a carry, rushes for 1,000 yards on the season. It really was a nice punctuation for Ty Davis-Price, a Baton Rouge guy who struggled to find his opportunities really in a crowded backfield. And when he got his chance early last year, it didn't go well, and the second half of the season popped off. So Kiner was the number 2, very clear number 2 behind Ty Davis-Price. And with John Emery back this year, he was kind of a very clear number 2 behind John Emery. And I think with Noah Cain coming in June, the Penn State transfer, and then you look at Bradford and Godwin and Josh Williams, you have a very crowded running back room right now. And for a guy like Corey Kiner, he may be looking around thinking, all right, well, Ty Davis-Price went off to the NFL. This was going to be my chance to be the lead back. It clearly isn't going to happen with John Emery there and then Noah Cain coming in. You've got a new staff. Who knows what their expectation is, stylistically, what they're running. Maybe it's just going to suit Corey Kiner to go elsewhere. I do think, by the way, that with a new staff, no matter what, you're going to lose players. Every program after spring always sees players hit the transfer portal. That is an unavoidable reality for every program. You go through spring, guys realize where they're on the depth chart, and they leave. That is indiscriminate. That is every program everywhere. I think it's compounded when you have a new coaching staff as well, because you have guys that maybe were willing to go through spring to see what it was going to be like with this new staff, and once they got a glimpse of it, they said, yeah, this ain't for me, and so they leave. So Corey Kiner's the first. I certainly don't think he's going to be the last. There will be more LSU players that hit the transfer portal between now and the start of next season. The good news for LSU, as I mentioned, is their running back numbers are very good. You have hopefully a healthy John Emery who is now eligible. You have Noah Cain coming in who battled some injury at Penn State, but early in his career when he was healthy, he was every bit a lead back. So you have 2 guys with contrasting skill sets a little bit that could be very good. And then you throw in guys like Goodwin and Bradford on top of that, and then Josh Williams, who's been around for a good while. You've got plenty of talent. You've got plenty enough depth at that position group to make it work however it's going to go. One thing, though, that I think is going to be very interesting to watch, and Brian Kelly talked about this in his pre-spring press conference. He talked about the numbers on the roster. Remember, he inherited, we all know the number, right? They had 39 players for the bowl game. Really, the scholarship numbers were in the 50s, which is still absurdly low. But you had guys that were on scholarship on the roster that were hurt. Like Keishawn Butte is a great example. A guy who was hurt, didn't play in the bowl game, but was still on the roster. So you had 39 scholarship players available. Really, you were somewhere in the low, mid-50s. But that still means you're like 30 away from having a full roster of 85. And pre-spring, Brian Kelly did give an update on the roster numbers.
You know, on January 4th, we had 39 scholarship players. As I said, on August 4th, when we report our first day, we're going to get to 84. We might not get to 85, but we're going to be at 84. So we'll get the roster back to where it needs to be in very short order. You know, mid-years, as you know, we took 17. Look, that is not how I will build a program here at LSU.
That's enough. Thank you. He goes into talking about, look, you're not going to build through mid-years, and we all know that. You're going to build through high school classes. But the point is, him saying you're going to get to 84, remember, you still have a cap on your number of initials. You have your 25 initials. This year you are allowed to sign 7 over in a 1-for-1 transfer, so 32. So you're allowed to sign 32. So in his mind, he had to be thinking, all right, we're going to sign 32 plus whatever the current number is, which might have been 52. That would put you at 84. Well, you lose Corey Kiner, you don't get to replace that scholarship. You could give the scholarship to a walk-on, but you can't bring in an initial 25 at that point. Your numbers are your numbers, and you got 2 more. And Brian Kelly's talked about, they need tight end, they need offensive line. I think cornerback has really emerged as a spot they need as well. So I don't know how much he's factoring in that, but my guess is you're going to see some of that. You're going to see those numbers have to adjust a little bit when you lose a guy like Kiner, and there's going to be more to come. Flip side of it is a guy like Nick Storrs is back in the program now. So does that swap out 1-for-1? How do they make it work? It's just very clear that for this year, putting together a competitive roster 1 to 85 is going to be very difficult. You're going to have some really deep spots. We talked about, I think defensive line is going to be really good. I think your numbers on the offensive line are pretty good. I think at safety, you're really good. But there's going to be some spots where you're just deficient. So Corey Kiner leaving, you hate to lose anybody with experience, a talented player like that, but you have numbers and talent at running back. You should be fine. Bigger question is, how do they supplement and where do they supplement to get that roster up to a competitive level, which it certainly was not at when Brian Kelly took this job. So Corey Kiner, a kid from Ohio, maybe goes home to Cincinnati. We'll see where he lands. Wish him luck wherever that is. But it clears the room at least by 1 chair in that running back room for how the reps will be divvied up come fall. All right, it's After Further Review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back and we'll delve into LSU baseball. Swept at Arkansas this weekend. How did it all happen, and how do they bounce back this weekend against Missouri? We'll talk about it next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana, 293-0450, 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net. I'm going to be very direct. If you have your insurance with Liberty Mutual, you need to call Insurance Network of Louisiana. Just see it all the time. Was actually texting with Adam earlier today. It's like, man, we have been getting a bunch of calls lately from folks who have Liberty Mutual, and we just seemingly always save them money. And it's not that you have bad coverage. It's just that you're overpaying. And we're not talking about you're switching to cut-rate insurance. We're talking about some of the top-rated companies in the world. But if you have Liberty Mutual, they get you in cheap. Hope you set the auto draft. They jack rates and hope you never change. Let Insurance Network of Louisiana shop independently for free to get you better coverage for less money. 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, LSU baseball got swept over the weekend by Arkansas. Unfortunate that all the heavy lifting you did against Mississippi State to go on the road and sweep that series, especially, with the dramatic Game 1 comeback win. To pull off that sweep, to put yourself in a position one game behind Arkansas for first place in the West going on the road to Fayetteville, and to effectively undo all of the work you had done the week before is just so disappointing. Arkansas is a really good team, and I thought what you saw this weekend is a contrast between two programs that are in very different positions. You saw a contrast between the best defensive team in the SEC and the worst defensive team in the SEC. You saw a contrast in a program that has three really good starting pitchers, including a Game 3 starter throwing 97 friggin' cheese. The Game 2 starter handcuffed you for 2 hits and no runs over 7 innings. The Game 1 starter is as good and veteran a pitcher as there is in the SEC in Connor Nolan. LSU is piecing together 3 days. You just saw a giant contrast between a team that is the best team in the West right now and a team that is the best at being inconsistent, where this LSU baseball team is good enough to go on the road and win a series at Florida, is good enough to go on the road and sweep a series at Mississippi State. And you could say, well, look at their records. Those teams are below. They are, in part because you beat them. But then you can also lose home series to A&M and Auburn, who might actually be pretty good, and get swept at Arkansas. So we'll talk about where LSU is right now and what's realistic for the second half of conference in just a second. But specifically with the weekend, you go out there on Thursday, and I know a lot of people had Friday off, but we talked about the Thursday loss. The most disappointing part of the loss Thursday is it was, of the weekend, the game that obviously you had the best chance to win. And maybe a game you should have won. You lost 5-4, and while not all 5 runs were unearned that you allowed, all 5 runs were the result of miscues on your part. Whether it you'll be putting guys on base or pass ball that allowed runners to get into scoring position, or whatever the case may be. All 5 runs scored were a result of your miscues. The only error charged in the game was the throwing error by Berry on the first batter of the game. But you blew that opportunity, and you come back on Friday, and Hagen Smith just handcuffed you. It was a day where you ran up against a really good pitcher, and who was feeling it. That was the first time LSU had been shut out since the regional opener against Gonzaga last year when you lost 3-0. First time this team had been shut out all season. You're a really good offensive team. That didn't change, but that's the game of baseball. Like, some days you go out there and you run up against a really good pitcher who's feeling it that day, and you don't swing it well. And that happened against Hagen Smith. And LSU mustered 2 hits over 7 innings against him, and they got shut out. So you lose game 2, and you go into game 3 trying to salvage something in that ball game, in the series. And you led early, and you just couldn't hang on. Yes, we have to talk about the play that happened with Braden Jobert, for those that did not see it. Just to kind of very quickly recap what happened. It was in the 3rd inning. Paul, please see if you can find that video of it, please. It's in the 3rd inning, and there's runners on 1st and 2nd with 2 outs, and there's a 2-strike count on Braden Jobert, who steps out of the box, and the third base umpire calls him out, essentially for delaying the game. It would be very easy for me to sit here and lose my mind and be all red-faced and rant to the point where I'm sweating. And part of me really wants to do that because the absurdity of that decision by the third base umpire knows no bounds. If it's a Tuesday night against Grambling and you want to prove your point and make that call, okay. If it's the 7th inning and it's 14-2 and you want to make that call, okay. In a conference game where it's 1-0, you have a team trying to stave off a sweep, you've got 2 men on base and the designated hitter at the plate, and you're going to call him out for stepping out of the batter's box with no warning, it's fundamentally absurd. I understand pace of play. I can understand the powers that be, like the pitch clock in college baseball, trying to speed up the pace. Okay, all those things, fine. You want to work on it. Not at risk of compromising the competitive balance of a game, which you did in that situation. I mean, Braden Jobert is a swing away from a 4-0 lead. He's a swing away from a single that scores a run, and it's 2-0. Who knows? But the point is, you took the bat out of a player's hands because he did something that has been fundamental to the game of baseball literally since the game of baseball was invented. Like I say all the time, all refs are bad at their jobs. Refs, umpires, officials, whatever sport, that's a case in point right there. That is an absolutely horrendous call in that moment. I wouldn't want to see it ever, but especially in that moment, you have to have some restraint. And that umpire didn't, and that's miserable. Now, you didn't lose the series because of that. You didn't lose the game because of that. You lost to a better team over 3 days who were just better than you. And that stinks. But if you're pissed about that, you should be pissed about that. If you haven't seen it yet, you can find it on Twitter, YouTube, or anywhere, Facebook, and you can see it. And that's something the SEC has just simply got to address. You cannot, in a moment like that, have something like that determine a play that was so integral. Now, that's a big part of what LSU's done all year, though. And Jay Johnson talked about it today. You see this like Jay Johnson has worn a path to the pitcher's mound from his dugout. I mean, the amount of pitching changes, the mound visits, the visits with batters during a count. I mean, it's just something that this team needs to do at times to set matchups, to throw up, to get a pitcher out of his rhythm. This LSU team isn't good enough to just go straight up there and stand toe-to-toe and throw blows. Like, there's got to be some gamesmanship for how they manage it. And Jay was kind of asked about that today.
So they think some of the games are getting long and they're trying to shave down the time, but are they compromising things in exchange, I guess, is the question some people have.
I think so. You change with the times. I've always been hesitant. To try to force the issue on anything. These are high-level games with high-level players. Sometimes they're going to go quick because 2 pitchers are going to go out there and get people out. Okay, and at other times there's good offenses. It's day baseball. The weather gets warmer. It's windy. You got to make a pitching change just to hang on for your life, and that's our team right now. So, when the next Aaron Nola and Alex Lang show up, I'm all for winning in 2 hours and 25 minutes, but I'm not going to compromise, winning so some stat can be a little cleaner as far as game times. I'm just not going to do that.
Hopefully, and if you didn't hear that on the stream, I apologize. It was Jay Johnson essentially saying he's not going to compromise his opportunity to win because of a game time pace of play type stat, and nor should he. It's just the nature of the hand he's been dealt this year, where you don't have guys that you're going to give the ball to that are going to go shove for 7 innings, and then you finish out a game in 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's just not how LSU is going to be able to play games this year. That's okay. And Jay's been very adamant about that. He understands that, and that's not always going to be like that. There's going to be a time in the very near future where he's got a roster where he feels like he can go out there and hand the ball to a Friday, Saturday, Sunday guy, a Tuesday guy, and you know exactly how it's going to be. This isn't that team. It's just not what they are. It's not what they're going to be this year. The flip side of it is that this team, while disappointing that they're 7-8 at the halfway point of conference play, still has a great opportunity in the second half of conference play. And you have to be realistic. Like, unless if they do something like the 2008 team did where you run off 23 straight wins, they're not going to be a national seed. I think we all understand that. But if you find a way to get yourself to 17-13 in the league, you're going to host a regional. And that's something that this team can do. They'd have to go 10-5 the rest of the way, but they're capable of winning each of their remaining series. Capable. I'm not saying they will. I'm not going to say they're going to be favored to, but this weekend you play Missouri. Missouri's 5-10. They're tied for last in the East. You're at home. You should win at least 2 in this series. Then you're at home against Georgia. And Georgia's very good. Georgia's second in the East behind only Tennessee. They're at 9-6 in the league. That's going to be a very tough series, no doubt. Is it possible you can take 2 at home? Sure. Then you go to Alabama. The Alabama series looks tougher now than it did before the season. That goes without saying. But Alabama's 8-7. They're 1 game over 500. Not going to sit. They just took a game off of Tennessee. They're very capable. But that's also a series you can go on the road and win. Then you're home against Ole Miss, which is maybe the most disappointing team in all of college baseball this year. Ole Miss at one point was ranked number 1 in the country. We know what happened. They lost Hoagland and Nikhazy. They thought the guys they were replacing them with, including Derek Diamond, would not miss a beat. They clearly have missed many beats. They're 5-10 in the conference. You should win that series at home. And then you go to Vanderbilt. You want to know how tough it is to be consistently great in college baseball, especially in the SEC? LSU 7-8. Vanderbilt is 7-8. It's a great program Tim Corbin's built. They're 7-8. Oh, losing Kumar Rocker, Jack Leiter, not as easy as always just saying plug and play. So that series doesn't look as daunting going on the road to finish conference play as it did when you first looked at the schedule. Flip side of that is every one of those teams can say, hey, man, LSU 7-8, that's a winnable series. And they're right. But that's what happens when you hover around 500. You can win any game or any series. You could lose any game or any series. And that's probably just going to be a little bit of a yo-yo effect for this team. But if they can find a way to win more than they lose, they put themselves in position to potentially host a regional. And if you do that, then, look, you play a super and you win it. You play a super regional, try to win a weekend. Maybe your bats get hot. Maybe you slug your way to a couple of wins. It happens. I mean, we saw Arkansas last year lose on their home field as the best team in college baseball. It happens. It's baseball. It's a fun postseason. So put yourself in position to be playing your best when that time of year comes and see if you can make a run. But it starts by winning weekends like this one coming that you got to win. And at home against Missouri, you got to win this weekend. All right, it's after further review. Before that, though, the Tigers will play in the Pontiff Classic tomorrow at the box. Nicholas Pontiff's going to join us in 30 minutes from right now. If you haven't heard, it's going to be the last year of the Pontiff Classic. So Nick's going to join us, tell us a little bit about the foundation and why they've decided to call it quits on the Pontiff Classic and what we can expect moving forward. So excited to talk to Nick Pontiff, former Tiger, and, of course, Wally's brother. Be with us in about 30 minutes from right now. All right, it's after further review. We'll grab a break, go around the SEC. Stick around.
AFR.
Love telling you about River City's 1 hour air where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime, especially when you go through a weekend like we just did. Look, it was Easter weekend. A lot of people were outside, crawfish boils. You know the drill. I did as well. And you also know the humidity was there. And this weekend, it felt like summer, or like summer was coming because the humidity just smacked you right in the face when you walked outside this weekend. Call River City's 1 hour air. You know the triple-digit temps are right around the corner. Call River City's 1 Hour Air preseason AC tune-up. 752-0001, 752-0001. You see River City's 1 Hour Air all over. Big yellow vans and trucks, you just can't miss them. With the giant clock on the side, they service South Louisiana and have the greater Baton Rouge area for 40 years. Don't let your AC go through the warm weather months without getting it checked first, and River City's 1 Hour Air can do the honors. 752-0001 for River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with 0% for 72 months. Shop our inventory or custom order your Ram with $2,000 bonus cash and a 1,000,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit dreams come true. And this year, we need your help more than ever.
We've interviewed these incredible kids, and each and every one of their stories brings tears to our eyes.
To have a dream granted means more to these families than you'll ever know.
And it wouldn't be possible without your help.
Dreams Come True has been hit hard by the events of the past year.
So we ask for your support in helping this incredible cause.
Our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthy. My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
So 2 weeks ago, before the Major League Baseball season started, we went around the room and picked all of our division winners and AL, NL winners and World Series representatives. And in the AL East, I picked the Blue Jays in part because of COVID. Canada is still abiding by COVID restrictions whereby unvaccinated people aren't allowed to, I guess, enter the country. And that this was going to be an invariable part of this season where you were going to have opponents playing the Blue Jays who had unvaccinated players that weren't going to be able to play. And by and large, they were going to be significant players because if you're a marginal guy just trying to hang on to a roster spot, you're getting vaccinated. But if you're a superstar and you don't want to, you're not going to get vaccinated. And we're seeing that. The Red Sox are headed up to Toronto to play the Blue Jays in Canada. And Alex Cora has announced catcher Kevin Plawecki and 2 other staff members, they've tested positive for COVID. And also, they're going to be without multiple unvaccinated players. Starting pitcher Tanner Houck, you remember that name? He pitched at Missouri. Tanner Houck, he's not vaccinated. He was supposed to pitch game 2 of this series. He's out. Apparently, there's others. This happened with the A's as well. When they went up to Canada, A.J. Puck didn't pitch, nor did Kirby Snead and catcher Austin Allen. So it's going to be part of the season for as long as Canada continues to have this issue. We're seeing it in the NBA playoffs as well. The Sixers are going to be without one of their guards this week whenever they go up to Canada for the games in Toronto against the Raptors. So for games 3 and 4, it's going to be an issue, and it's certainly an advantage for the Toronto-based teams right now. You're seeing it right there with Boston headed up to play Toronto. They won their game 2 starter in the series. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans, gmfsmortgage.com. Check them out online. You can find a local loan officer there at gmfsmortgage.com. Process could not be easier. We were thrilled with it. We refied last year. We did our entire process via email. Like, we didn't actually go do anything in person until we had to go to the closing, which took 5 minutes. So gmfsmortgage.com, tap loan officers at the top of the page, and you'll find a loan officer in an office near you. Got offices all over the state of Louisiana. Find a loan officer near you. They'll help walk you through the program. Maybe you want to use your home's equity to do that home improvement project, whatever it is that you might need some cash for. You take cash out of the equity of your home. So many great options. Let GMFS Mortgage help you change your life today. gmfsmortgage.com. GMFS Mortgage, changing lives. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Sam Pittman and the University of Arkansas have reportedly agreed to a raise and a contract extension that is structured to keep him at Arkansas for the remainder of his coaching career. Details of the contract have not been released, but there is reportedly going to be a non-compete clause that would make Pittman's stance that this will be his last coaching job. We'll keep you posted when we hear terms of the deal.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Sophomore offensive tackle Amarius Mims says he is staying with the Bulldogs after putting his name in the transfer portal last week. Mims played in 8 games last season. He'll continue the challenge for the starting right tackle job. He's a former 5-star recruit from the class of 2021. He took a very much ballyhooed visit to Florida State this past weekend before deciding to remain with the Bulldogs.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Wide receiver E.J. Jenkins will enter his name into the transfer portal. Jenkins transferred into Columbia from St. Francis last spring. His one season with the Gamecocks caught 8 passes for 117 yards and 1 touchdown. He missed the end of this year's spring practice with an injury. His next season will be his 6th and final.
The Florida Gators.
Gators landed their first outright commitment for the 2023 class under Billy Napier. 3-star wide receiver Tyree Patterson out of Florida. Other offers from Liberty, UMass, and North Texas. 6'2", 175-pounder. Patterson joins 4-star athlete Aaron Gates in Florida's class of 2023.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
And the Ole Miss men's basketball team has landed their second player out of the transfer portal, receiving a commitment from Loyola of New Orleans guard Miles Burns. Of course, Loyola won the NAIA National Championship this year. Burns is a 6'6", 200-pound hybrid from Houston, averaged 15 points per game, and shot nearly 54% from the floor. He's headed to Oxford to be a Rebel. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy, Trey Beal, and our friends Gulf Coast Office Products. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, North Shore, and Lafayette. Online at gcopnet.com. So with offices near you, what that means is they can get to you same day, or worst case, 10 a.m. the next day if you have issues with your office equipment. So copiers, scanners, faxers, all-in-ones, all those machines, the interactive whiteboards you've heard us talk about. Gulf Coast Office Products, official office equipment provider of the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the ULL Raging Cajuns. Gulf Coast Office Products. The Sam Pittman contract's an interesting one. And I see it 2 ways. So Sam Pittman just finished up his second year at Arkansas. And understanding he inherited a program that went on a 2-year SEC losing streak, to find your way to an 8-4 regular season, win a bowl game, and get to 9 wins, that's going to have people there pretty stoked because it's a level of success with which they have not been familiar. Now, remember, Pittman's first year was the COVID year. They went 3-7. It was all SEC games, so he had 3 SEC wins, which is the most they had won since probably Bobby Petrino. It was insane just how bad Arkansas had been, how historically bad for as long as they had. So Pittman comes in, goes 3-7 during the COVID year, goes 8-4. They win the Outback Bowl, 9-4. It's got people there pretty stoked, understandably. But I have to caution whenever I see a coach get a lifetime contract after 2 years. The very obvious, relatively local comp is Ed Ogeron. Now, he didn't get a lifetime contract, but after he won the national championship in 2019, they gave him the big fat extension, which you have to do when a coach wins a national championship. You're going to give them a big fat new deal, and LSU paid handsomely for it. They ended up paying that man $17 million to go away. Arkansas's got plenty of money. I mean, Arkansas's got the Walmart money. They got Jerry Jones money. They got Tyson Chicken money. They got FedEx money. They got money. I mean, it's actually bizarre that Arkansas has been as relatively bad across the board as they have been for as long as they've been because of all the resources that they have at their disposal that they just haven't used effectively. Now, the detriment is there's no talent in the state of Arkansas. So they do have to go cast a wide net, recruit outside of the state. But especially in the NIL era, when you have that amount of financial resources to pull from, the fact that they haven't been able to be better is surprising. Now, maybe they're turning a corner. They got 2 really good basketball and baseball coaches. I mean, Dave Van Horn has built a real model of consistency with baseball. Basketball, of course, went to the Elite Eight 2 seasons ago. And I mean, this is actually back-to-back Elite Eights now for Arkansas. So maybe Eric Musselman's building something consistent there. And perhaps Sam Pittman will as well in football. But I just always, if you're Bill Self, again, NCAA sanctions and issues notwithstanding, just as a coach, right? You've been as successful as you've been. You've won a title, won 2 titles now. You've had that type of consistency for as long as you have at Kansas since 2004. I get it. You've been in place for nearly 20 years. You've won titles. You've been in Final Fours, and you want to make sure that guy never leaves, so you give him a lifetime contract. I get it. I totally get it. Duke wanted to do that with Coach K. I get it. Completely. Arkansas and Sam Pittman, that feels like a pretty big risk. You can give that guy security. You can hitch your wagon to him. You can commit to him. But giving him a lifetime contract feels a little unnecessary because I don't think any other school in the country is coming to poach Sam Pittman. It's almost similar to what LSU had done with Ed Ogeron. There was nobody coming knocking on LSU's door trying to get Ed Ogeron away. So, I mean, maybe that's a contract they'll regret giving him at some point. We'll see what the terms of it are eventually when it's released. But Sam Pittman and Arkansas, match made in hog heaven. And, they are, for better or worse, joined at the hip now for the rest of Sam Pittman's career. All right, it's after further review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Window. We're glad to have you with us here at Relief Windows. That's plural, not one window, multiple windows, many windows, Relief Windows. You can always tweet us at Matt Moscona. You can jump in the Bayou Forward YouTube chat in the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel, or you can text us in the 225 at 396-4400, 396-4400. Want to remind you about the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020. Dr. Blake Williamson, the gang, do awesome work. Dr. Blake did my LASIK 3 years ago, still seeing better than 2020. Give yourself the gift of sight. I'm thrilled every time I talk to Dr. Blake or Amber or any of the folks over at the Williamson Eye Center, and they continue to tell me how many AFR referrals they get, how many people have heard me give you my testimonial of not being able to see, going to the Williamson Eye Center, and how LASIK has changed my life. If it's LASIK, if it's a lens replacement, if it's PRK, no matter your age or refractive issue, there is a refractive solution for you. Let Dr. Blake Williamson find it. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. All right, we'll wrap up hour number 1 next.
AFR.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pop?
To start the
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
To start the game, it was extremely physical for our group, for our guys, and we didn't adjust to that in the first half. Third quarter, second half, we made the adjustment that we knew the game was going to be physical. They had their hands on us, which means that we have to play faster. We have to get into the paint. We have to crash the glass, all the things that we did, but just got to make some shots.
Pels drop game one, 110-99 to the Suns. Graff will be with us in 40 minutes from right now. Not only want to ask him about game one, but I got to talk to him about, clinching in the play-in and what that was like. His call, the clinching call from the play-in was awesome as well. We'll let you hear that when Graff's with us in about 40 minutes from right now. So, listen, Chris Paul just went bonkers at the end of that game. Pels pulled it down, got it down to single digits. They trailed for double digits the bulk of the game, got up over 20, and then they pulled within 6, and then Chris Paul just went bonkers. Here was CP3 after the game talking about the 17 points he scored in the fourth quarter.
I didn't know it was 17 points in a row. For me, I'm just saying we need to increase the league. And so for me, it's just continue to play. And it's crazy. I watch games a lot, and sometimes when people get hot like that, they just take a crazy shot and what they call a heat check. That's got to be the dumbest thing I've heard of. Like, you should he going to take a crazy one. But for me, I just figure keep taking good shots. Why take a bad one and then not be hot no more? But that's why I'm not a scorer, I guess.
Tuesday, 9 o'clock Central will be game 2. Of course, with the games played in Phoenix, that's on the West Coast, so it's Pacific time zone. So it's a 7 o'clock local time there in Phoenix. That's why we're going to start at 9 Central. So it's going to be they're going to be late. Game 2 will be late. Games 3 and 4 will be in New Orleans, so you should have more reasonable start time if you're worried about staying up late. But see if the Pels can steal one on the road. If not, maybe try to draw first blood at the Smoothie King Center coming up later this week. All right, after further review, we're glad to have you aboard with us here. Monday shows brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. I'm sure by now everybody has heard this news. They announced it in SportsCenter a bit ago, but Marshawn Lynch is out there living his best life. Dude has been in Netflix shows. He's opened up his own cannabis company. He's doing everything. And it was announced today that he's become a minority owner of the Seattle Kraken. That's the NHL team. One of the most famous videos ever is Marshawn Lynch joyriding in a golf cart or the injury cart around the field at Cal when he was a collegiate athlete there. So naturally, he took the keys to the Zamboni at the practice rink for the Seattle Kraken and kind of went on a joyride. Money Lynch is out there doing donuts on the Zamboni. I mean, you're supposed to be like dragging the ice with the Zamboni, and they put like a camera on him just sitting there doing donuts with a Zamboni that's got the Starbucks. It's like wrapped in the Starbucks logo. And he is smiling like a kid on Christmas morning. He is so fired up to be doing donuts on the ice. You're watching the video if you're watching with us on YouTube. But if not, go find it. You can. You know what's crazy about this? The Marshawn Lynch phenomenon. Because of the Beastquake, I hate Marshawn Lynch. Right? Like, one of the worst moments as a Saints fan is Beastquake. I mean, defending champs, it's the 2010 playoffs. You're in Seattle against a sub-500 team that only got in because they won the crappiest division. And in that moment, Marshawn Lynch made your entire professional defense look like a peewee game. Like when there's the one big kid in a peewee game that's just like throwing kids around, that's what Marshawn Lynch did. And then to punctuate it, he leaps into the end zone with a handful of his crotch. I mean, it is if you are a fan of football, anyone other than a Saints fan, that moment is immortal. For Saints fans, it's awful. It's one of the worst moments ever to watch. So I should hate Marshawn Lynch, but I don't. I love the guy. I love Marshawn Lynch. I love the fact that he eats Skittles during games. I love the fact that Marshawn Lynch just went over to Egypt and was like riding camels or something like that. I love the fact that he's doing, wheelies and donuts on the ice there at the Kraken Arena. I love everything about Marshawn Lynch out there living his best life. By the way, plug, The Pivot, that's RC's show with Fred Taylor and Channing Crowder. One of the episodes I have in queue to watch, the next one I have in queue to watch is the Marshawn Lynch episode. If you haven't watched The Pivot yet, considering the style of show that they do, the thought of having Marshawn Lynch in there has me giddy. That's probably what I'm going to watch tonight. And then, like, a doubly awesome part about the Marshawn Lynch thing owning the Kraken is that apparently Macklemore is in there as well. Yeah, Macklemore, like Thrift Shop Macklemore. I mean, the jam that we were all bobbing our head to 10 years ago, talking about popping tags. I didn't even know Macklemore was from Seattle, but I'll be darned. Macklemore and Marshawn Lynch are Kraken owners. I don't have a hockey team. I don't know anything about hockey. I could not tell you a single rule of hockey. Blue line, red line, icing. I do not know what icing is. I have no clue. But I want to be a Kraken fan. I love the name. I love the logo. I love the mascot. I love that Lynch and Macklemore are there. I'm in. I'm a Kraken fan. Today, book it. Go Kraken!
AFR.
As we wrap up hour number 1, I want to remind you about Shawbills. My bad. Wrong one. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, bumper-to-bumper auto service, and name brand tires at wholesale prices. That's Shawbills. Looking forward to it. Got lunch with my buddy Martin over at Shawbills on Wednesday. Get to find out what all the new deets are of everything going on. But one thing that is always going on at Shawbills, because it has since they opened their doors in 1968, is they're selling you the best tires on the road for the cheapest price possible. And they're treating you like family. Bumper-to-bumper auto service. Need an oil change? Shawbills. Got the check engine light on? Shawbills. Brake squeaking? Bring it to Shawbills. No matter what's going on with your vehicle, bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. Go to the website, click the promotions tab at the top. They'll tell you all the deals they currently have on all the tires specifically made for your vehicle. It's Shawbills. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Cleveland Browns will sign corner Denzel Ward to a 5-year, $100.5 million contract extension. Ward will now be the highest-paid cornerback in league history, and the Browns have now spent an NFL-high $340 million in guaranteed money this offseason. The most dramatic game of the weekend, the Celtics' buzzer-beating win over the Nets on Sunday. But ESPN's Nick Friedel says Brooklyn isn't worried.
The Nets knew they let one slip right at the end, but they are very confident they can beat this Celtics team, and they believe it because they know that Kevin Durant will be Kevin Durant again in Game 2.
Which will be Wednesday night in Boston. 3 more playoff games tonight. The 76ers, Jazz, and Warriors carry 1-0 series leads into tonight's action. Coverage at 7 Eastern here on ESPN Radio. For the Raptors and 76ers, Scotty Barnes out. Gary Trent Jr. and Thaddeus Young both doubtful for Toronto. Luka Doncic likely out again for the Mavericks against the Jazz.
When you're trying to hire and fill open jobs, the searching, screening, and interviewing can become its own job. You need Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt. I am sweating. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Bottom of this hour, we'll head out to Phoenix. Radio voice of the Pels, Todd Graffagnini. We'll talk about the play-in and then also losing Game 1 and what's ahead for this series. That's coming up. Issue at hand, though. Tomorrow, LSU baseball will be back on the diamond for what is always a special night for LSU baseball and everyone involved. The final Wally Pontiff Jr. Classic will take place and it'll happen at Alec Box Stadium tomorrow as the ULL Raging Cajuns come to the box for a 6:30 first pitch. And Nicholas Pontiff's good enough to join us for a couple of minutes, as he does every year about this time. Nick, great to have you, man. How are you?
I'm good, Matt. Thanks so much. Tradition, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you.
Every time we get to talk to you, man, it means it's a great time of year. Hey, I want to start with a question that I think everyone has been asking, which is this is the final Pontiff Classic. Why? Why are we ending a 20-year tradition, which has been so great?
Yeah, man. A couple challenges have taken place over the years. First and foremost, I think the biggest challenge has been that we lost kind of the LSU home game that in New Orleans that we've had over the past 16 years, which was at Zephyr Field when we brought it the game at Zephyr Field, and when the Zephyrs moved to Wichita, Kansas, we didn't get another minor league team to be a tenant of that stadium. So the next tenant was the NOLA Gold Rugby, and so that stadium's turned into a rugby field at the current moment, and so we couldn't go there. And then couple that with a couple years of COVID, and really sad. Our executive director Cheryl Gorman, who's been with us really from the beginning of the foundation in its early stages, passed away unexpectedly due to COVID complications in 2021, which was catastrophic for us down here, our community, because she was like family to us. And so we lost her. And so, man, it was just a series of difficult events. And LSU was gracious enough to basically let us have one final hoorah and bring Wally back home to the box just one last time up in Baton Rouge. And so that's where we're at, coming to culmination tomorrow evening.
That is really cool. So was continuing the game at the box each year not an option?
You know, we've never been presented with the option. And this is a time of gratitude. Games are a business, and so LSU really was giving up a home game every year for us to have it down in New Orleans. And, it's a tough ask to ask them to give up a home game in their own stadium each and every year. And so instead of going to them and having that question, we figured, you know what, let's just be grateful for what we had and what we currently do have. And due to the circumstances with Miss Cheryl Gorman passing away, we figured that this was a time that in the present moment we're going to have to say goodbye to the Classic.
Will the foundation continue its work, Nick?
Absolutely, yeah. So the foundation's got an endowment, and so we still have some funds available, and obviously this will be our last final fundraising event until we come up with something new, possibly, which we don't have any options yet. But what we'll do is look. The website's WallyPontiffJRFoundation.com. WallyPontiffJRFoundation.com. You'll see a list of charitable organizations that we've donated to in the past, and absolutely there's a contact us link on there. Anybody who or any charitable organization, 501c3 corporation that is looking for funds can submit a nomination request there. And our goal is to keep giving back to Louisiana and the community that surrounds Louisiana. So we are an open book, and we're looking forward to helping out the community where we can.
Nick Pontiff is our guest. The final Pontiff Classic will be tomorrow out at the box. So I'm looking up here. I know LSU baseball had the tickets are available. So Nick, fill us in on the details. If people want to go, what are the details here as far as tickets and all that good stuff?
Yeah. So with this being our final fundraising event, all ticket proceeds go right back into the foundation's bank. So basically, any ticket proceeds, and that's really, we would love as many butts in the seats as possible for you to come out and see LSU baseball and reminisce about some old times, see some old faces. If you're interested in coming out, looks to be a beautiful night. You can go to LSUtix.net. That's LSUtix.net, or you can call the LSU ticket office. And there's still some great seats available. As you know, or maybe you don't, but I would assume, yeah. It wasn't part of the season ticket package. Right. So if you did buy season tickets, you had to opt in for this game. And so those season ticket holders that maybe did not opt in, if you're looking to score some really nice seats to the game, you can kind of pick your fashion, so to speak. So we hope to get as many people there as possible.
So LSUtix.net is where so you can buy tickets through LSU the same way you'd buy tickets, I would assume, for anything else through LSU. But, of course, all the proceeds will go to the Pontiff Foundation. Nick Pontiff was here for a couple extra minutes. Man, you got to play. I know I ask you every year, but you got to play in this game. Obviously, we know what Wally, the foundation, means to you, but maybe have you thought about reflecting a little bit on this game, the Classic coming to an end after 20 years?
It doesn't hit me till really the day of, to be honest with you. I said this morning when I was talking to one of your friends, actually, but I said, I still feel like, this is probably my own demons within inside of me, but I still feel like he's still up at college, and I'm the 16-year-old that's in high school playing baseball, and I'm going to see him on the weekend, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So I said, even though it's been almost 20 years, I still feel like Wally's so near and dear to me. But the truth be told, I mean, the guys that are going to be playing in the game tomorrow night, the majority of them weren't even born when he was playing at LSU. So it's really, look, tomorrow night is one of my favorite nights of the year because my family gets together. And as you know, family is, if we've learned anything in the past couple of years, family is what's most important outside of our Lord and Savior. But our family gets together. We get to remember Wally, talk about Wally. And look, everybody's been through grief, right? And so when somebody passes, you kind of shy away from it, and it hurts others to talk about that person being gone. But tomorrow night's really a celebration for us. And I look forward to it personally because I get to remember the joys of being a little brother and just all the memories of having an older brother.
They got two more things, man. How's the rest of the family doing? Fill us in on how everybody's doing.
Oh, man. I procreate males, so I've got 3 little boys. I got a 5'3" and 1-year-old boy. They all hit from the left side.
Nice.
They all love it. Yeah, they all love baseball. They all throw right-handed. So it's
sounds familiar.
It does sound familiar. Yeah, so life's good, man. Me and my lovely wife everything is as good as it can be right now in regards to that, and we're very, very, very blessed. Mom and Dad are doing great. My sister Haley is fantastic. She's a nurse and helping people by the day. So, look, we're very blessed. We're very thankful. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, man, that's great to hear. All right, I got to ask you. You should be prepped for it. I need a Wally wink, man.
You know, I knew it was coming, and I'll tell you, it's been a couple years since we talked, and I remember vividly. I told Julie this morning. I said I had one because we haven't talked in a couple years because this game was actually supposed to be in 2020. I honestly don't have one. I had it on the tip of my tongue. I guess if anything, look, I got 3 boys that walk like him, talk like him, sound like him, look like him. One of them looks exactly like him. So maybe that's my Wally wink right now. Is that?
Well, I even remember the last one you gave us, which was I believe it was for your 30th birthday when you were going to eat and they sat you at table 31. Did I get that right?
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well,
it happens all the time.
I believe it, man. Hey, man, I always appreciate so much you giving us some time. I mean, everything that the foundation's done obviously is awesome. All the charities and organizations y'all have benefited over the years. And I was in college. I was in college with Haley. We had a lot of classes together, and I mean, it's, for a lot of people who watched Wally or knew Wally or have loved this program, it means a lot to everybody. So excited about one more Pontiff Classic tomorrow night at the box, man. Y'all enjoy your night, okay?
Hey, thanks for all the years of helping us out. I appreciate you, man.
Hey, man.
Y'all be good.
Of course. And listen, anything that the foundation does moving forward, it doesn't have to be a baseball game. Just holler at me. I'm always here, all right?
You're awesome. Hey, thanks y'all so much.
All right, brother. We'll see you later. That is Nick Pontiff. This is After Further Review. I love the Pontiff Classic. I mean, it's just, it's I was at LSU when Wally passed. I mean, it's like everyone has everyone who lived through that, and obviously his family lived through it in a completely different way than everybody else did, but everyone who lived through it just has their memory of where they were when they heard. I mean, it's that type of moment around here. So for everybody who has that type of connectivity to the program and remembers Wally and cheered for Wally and loved Wally, all that sort of stuff, this is still a day like Nick described for their family to remember their brother, their son. So it's the same thing for every LSU fan. So it's an emotional night for everybody, man. So last Pontiff class will take place tomorrow out at the box. Get your tickets, lsutix.net. All right, it's After Further Review. We'll knock out a quick break, and we'll come back. I want to talk some LSU football. Nick Storrs, the gift that keeps on giving. Nick Storrs back with the football program. We'll talk about it next. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet Dine-In, Carry-Out, or Delivery, Uber Eats, DoorDash. But, man, on Mondays, you better be talking about dining in on Mondays, because on Mondays is all-you-can-eat wings at Pluckers. That's right. Pay one low price, eat as many wings as you want all night long. So, you want to watch some Major League Baseball action? You can do it at Pluckers. You want to watch the NBA playoffs? Tonight you got Toronto, Philly. You had Utah, Dallas, Denver, Golden State. A 3-pack. You can watch all the action at Pluckers. At the Bluebonnet location, they've got a 13-foot by 8-foot TV wall, which can be individual games or one game when they show it on all those TVs at one time. It's incredible. It's at Pluckers. And, of course, all-you-can-eat wings tonight and every Monday. Nicholson just south of campus. If you're getting out to the box for the Pontiff Classic tomorrow, need a place to eat before or after the game, that Pluckers location is just south of the box on Nicholson. It's Pluckers. You like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s, plus $500 bonus cash. We have new 2022 F-150s on our lot now. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Go Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit dreams come true. And this year, we need your help more than ever.
We've interviewed these incredible kids, and each and every one of their stories brings tears to our eyes.
To have a dream granted means more to these families than you'll ever know.
And it wouldn't be possible without your help.
Dreams Come True has been hit hard by the events of the past year.
So we ask for your support in helping this incredible cause.
Our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier. My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Todd Walker is going to be with us to start hour number 3. Obviously, it's just been an up and down yo-yo type season for LSU baseball. Can they steady it now? We'll get T-Dub's reaction here at the midway point of conference play. All right, so LSU had its final full-scale scrimmage of spring this past Saturday. They were in Tiger Stadium. And, that, of course, the spring game will be this coming Saturday. But they were joined by a familiar face, as Nick Storrs has been re-added to the roster. This is so interesting. If you don't remember, like, the quick catch-up is Nick Storrs came to LSU as a highly touted baseball prospect. And he just battled one injury after another during his baseball career and ultimately left the baseball team and joined the football team. He was a pretty good pass-catching tight end as a football player in high school. So he joined the LSU football team and played in 10 games. He got on the field in 10 games during the 2020 season. Of course, they played 10 games. It was the COVID year. So Storrs gets out there and plays 10 games during the 2020 season and thought he might have a bigger role in 2021, but he never got medically cleared. So ultimately, he ended up medically retiring. So his career was over. He had medically retired. And when you medically retire, You can still remain in school on scholarship and all that stuff. You just don't count against the 85 scholarship limit. And now Storrs is back. I guess whatever medically ailed him has been healed. I'm halfway kidding. I don't want to joke about something like that, but look, I want to be very clear, like very, very clear. Nobody should be listening to this or watching this today thinking, man, this is going to be a great story. Nick Storrs is coming in, and he's going to be an All-American, and he's going to be our answer at tight end. You need to not be thinking that today. You don't even need to be thinking about the possibility of Nick Storrs starting at tight end. Like, that's not going to be what his role is here. It can't be what his role is here. I mean, you're talking about a guy that showed up as a baseball player, hadn't played football in 3 years, played a year of football, medically retired. He's been out of football for a year. Now he's back. Like, that's just not the makings of an All-America caliber player, even a starting caliber player in the SEC. But Storrs is a big guy. I mean, he's 6'6", and he's a big body. And what this team needs when it comes to tight end help is a prototypical tight end body. Before spring practice started, when Brian Kelly was doing his spring practice primer, I asked him the question about remaining positions of need on this roster going into spring, where they felt they still needed help. Listen to what he said.
I think our depth situation at tight end is a concern of mine. I think that's an area that we need to continue to build on, and not sure that it's a quick fix. I think it's something that we're still going to have to look at. And there may be some people that are on our roster that might have to change positions and play that position. We're going to have to address it one way or the other. So it's still a concern.
So
there might be.
He went on to say offensive line is, they're not done there either. But he went to he told you point blank. The first thing out of his mouth was tight end. There might be people on the roster who switch positions. We're not sure how we're going to address it, but they needed to address their depth and numbers there. And that's what this is. Because coming into spring, your only tight ends were Cole Taylor, who is 6'7" and is really best known for having his shoe thrown, and Jack Mashburn, who played quarterback in high school, walked on at LSU, and they converted him to play tight end last year because the previous staff was so woefully inept at recruiting and managing the roster, they had to use a high school quarterback who walked on to be the starting tight end. Your numbers were terrible. Now you got Mason Taylor coming in, but are you really going to count on a true freshman coming on the field? Either way, you need bodies. Either way, you need depth at that position. This adds depth at that position. Adding Nick Storrs, a guy who has been on the field, and if he's healthy enough to roll, then let him roll. But you got to manage your expectations of what they are. Really, if I were to have one really big takeaway, though, from this Nick Storrs news, when they came into spring, Brian Kelly said tight end, offensive line were the two areas they still need to address. In that cut we just played, I didn't let you hear the part about the offensive line because that's not what we're talking about here. But that's what he said. He said tight end, and he said we're not done on the offensive line. Okay. Going through spring, I think it's pretty clearly been identified that cornerback is a problem as well. It's a very real issue. And you only have 2 initial 25s remaining. So, you can only sign, if you wanted to take a transfer, you can only take 2 more. That's it. Because you've taken Jaden Daniels, which, of course, you're going to take a guy that's started 30 games at quarterback. But you only have 2 spots left. So, do you want to take a tight end? Do you want to take an offensive lineman? Do you want to look for a cornerback? You just lost Corey Kiner. Are you looking running back? Probably not. But what do you feel like you most need to address at this point? And it might be that if you can get a starting caliber cornerback, that's a greater need than tight end. Because the way this LSU offense may be structured is that you just don't use tight end. If you need an extra blocker, put it I mean, I hate to say it this way, but go the Les Miles route. Put an extra tackle in as a tight end. I mean, or what the Saints have done for all these years with their tackle eligible. I mean, that's basically what been Will Clapp's role during his NFL career. Like, there are ways around it. If you need an extra blocker, you can find help getting an extra blocker. If you want another pass catcher on the field, put another receiver on the field. Jack Best, Brian Thomas. I mean, you have big-bodied receivers who can play that role for you. Not as an attached tight end that's going to block and do all that stuff, but that can be a flexed-out pass catcher in the slot. I really think that adding Nick Storrs is a luxury of having a body who's played at this level that can give you depth at a position where you're very, very thin, and it allows you the opportunity to address another position of need, which feels right now like a bigger issue. Because you can sort of, I hate to say it this way, but you can hide the tight end spot. You can't hide cornerback. And right now, you've got Jarek Bernard-Converse, you've got Mekhi Garner, 2 transfers. Bernard-Converse from Oklahoma State, Garner from ULL. And right now, Jarek Bernard-Converse has a broken bone in his foot. He's out for the rest of spring. Now, they expect him to be healthy for the season, but what this has exposed is you lose one of those 2 guys, you're in trouble. I mean, Greg Brooks, I think they really like at nickel, but they're working him on the outside as well, just in case. A lot of you have asked, hey, might they move Jay Ward back? I don't think so. I think they like Jay Ward at safety. You know, I mean, maybe the bigger question is, with Major Burns out, is someone like Joe Fouché taking Major Burns' role, kind of as a box safety, maybe? I don't know, but it's an option if you want to move Jay Ward. But remember, Jay Ward was a nickel as a freshman. You know, having an outside cornerback right now, it's where you're massively deficient. Now, we could see a scenario where Raydarius Jones, Demarius McGee, LaTerrence Welch, Jordan Allen, where somebody steps up. And we've seen that at LSU. Look, I tell us all the time, it's Greedy Williams. I mean, Greedy Williams redshirted in 2016. Redshirted. 2017, they got the news before the season about Christian Fulton being ineligible. There was an injury, and all of a sudden, Greedy Williams is starting the opener against BYU in the Superdome. Dude gets a pick, and then gets a pick in week 2, and then never left the field, became an All-American. I mean, it happens. Sometimes you got 5-star guys like Elias Ricks who run out there as freshmen, or Derek Stingley who run out there as freshmen. And then sometimes you have injuries, and then Dwight McGlothern's on the field late in the season out of necessity, and he can hang. He's really good. Like, that may happen here as well with one of those guys. May. But that's a big if, and you'd rather not find out if you don't have to. And if you have the opportunity to add somebody at that position that's a transfer that started a bunch of games at the major college level, you would much rather do that. And you might have the opportunity to do that. And if you do add a corner and an offensive lineman, then you don't have the luxury of adding a tight end because you only got 2 spots. So maybe that's kind of where they are right now. Tight end is thin. I mean, that is a tough spot right now on this roster. But so is cornerback. And it feels like corner is going to be more valuable to add someone if you can than tight end. So Nick Storrs is back. Again, I'm not expecting anything. I don't have visions of grandeur for Nick Storrs. But if that's a guy that can maybe be an attached tight end, that can be a big body, that can block for you, that can maybe catch some passes, cool. If it's just a guy that has depth in case if you have an injury, fine. But Nick Storrs, man, he's like the unicorn, the guy you never see, but you're going to be amazed when you do. We're waiting on it. But Nick Storrs, healthy enough apparently, and back with the football Tigers. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll grab a quick break. When we come back, let's head to Phoenix. We'll talk to Graff about the Pels. Game 2 is tomorrow night in Phoenix. Can the Pels pull even? We'll discuss next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org. Baton Rouge General, of course, the Express Care locations, 2 bordering the LSU campus, 1 on Nicholson directly across from Tiger Stadium, 1 on Highland. If you go through the south gates, it's on the right on Highland. And, of course, they got a Dutchtown location as well. Baton Rouge General, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. That's the website where you can learn more about their Express Care locations. You can check in online. You can check wait time. So download the app as well, the Baton Rouge General app. You can check the wait times at the Express Care locations. No matter what might be bothering, if you need urgent care 7 days a week, the Baton Rouge General Express Care locations are there for you 7 days a week, even on holidays and weekends. So if you got a fever or flu or COVID or animal bites, they even have EKG and x-ray machines. So if you need that, there's plenty of services that they offer. Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org.
Spring clean your garage with a newer pre-owned vehicle from Corval Toyota, where you never pay over MSRP. There's no markups, no gains. So reserve yours today. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
I've got that blue sky. I've got that sunshine.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Perfect. Jackson, pull up three on the way. Short, rebounded. It's taken by Morris. 3-ball right wing. Brick!
Game
We're going to win!
blouses. Let's get out of here.
It is over!
Come on, Phoenix. We rolling.
Here we come, playoffs. Here we come, Phoenix.
Needless to say, Friday night was a lot more fun than Sunday night. Todd Graffagnini, radio voice of the Pels. That's how it sounded when the Pels rallied late to beat the Clippers, to win the play-in, and punch their ticket to the playoffs for the first time in 4 years. That, of course, was Friday. Since then, the Pels did, in fact, lose Game 1 to Phoenix last night. Todd Graffagnini joins us from Phoenix. Graff, thanks as always for the time. How are you?
I am tremendous, Matt. Yeah, that was Friday night is one of those nights that you will never forget. It was just incredible. That call, just listening to it again, that was literally elation and disbelief at the same time.
I love it, man. Some people, the cynic might say, like, why are you getting so excited about winning a play-in? Put some context around it.
Well, Matt, the thing about it is now we are in the playoffs. This is what we've been waiting for, this roller coaster ride of a season. And now this group, which the majority of them have never tasted the postseason, are now in it. And not only are you in it, you're playing the best team in the NBA. So those play-in games were everything. And, last night was a different experience because even though the Pelicans lost, you still know that you're in a series. We've been in situations now basically going a month. Now, a loss was devastating. And obviously the last two games prior to the game last night in San Antonio or against San Antonio and in Los Angeles, you lose those games, that's it. Season is over. So just the mental grind that this team has gone through in the last month is just, it's invaluable. And physically now to be in the playoffs, it's big time. So I don't want to hear. I mean, look, I'll go with it. Kick rocks, man. If you don't think those play-in games meant anything, kick rocks. It's absolutely it was crucial to this franchise, and now you've got something tangible to build on for next year. I mean, look, you still got a series here in Phoenix, and of course back in New Orleans, but what is going to happen for the future of this franchise, that's what this is all about right now.
No doubt. We'll talk about the series in a second, but catch me up on kind of what it was like. All right, so clinch on Friday, pretty quick turnaround, man, to have to hop a jet to Phoenix, then to get ready for a game against the Suns. What was that 48 hours like for the team?
I tell you, I can speak personally, and just being in the travel party and on the trip, we got to sleep in a little bit on Saturday because let me tell you something, nobody slept on Friday night. And remember, look, I mean, this is 2 hours behind. So while everybody was still partying in New Orleans at 1 a.m. and 1:30, it was still, relatively early in L.A., but the crazy thing was everybody got back to the hotel and everybody was so wired and everything was closed. There was nowhere to go. I just basically went back in my room. I poured a glass of wine and just scrolled Twitter for 2 hours pretty much. But I tell you what, man, when we got to LA, or excuse me, I don't even know where I am anymore. when we got to Phoenix on Saturday, we landed and went straight to Arizona State for those guys to get some shots up. And you could tell, man. I mean, people's eyes were half closed. It was just the emotion that everybody went through on Friday night, and not to mention the players who had to go through that physically as well as emotionally. I think it kind of caught up with them a little bit, and I think you'd be crazy to think that didn't affect them in the first half of that game last night. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Now, the Phoenix Suns are a pretty darn good basketball team, as we know, but just throwing all that stuff, Phoenix has been off for a week, and we just played our third game in 5 days last night. So that had something to do with it as well. But the good news is, Matt, I think in that second half, the team started to realize, look, this is what we're going to have to deal with. And they took body blow after body blow in that first half, didn't make a shot, and still had a chance to win the ball game. So, I mean, I don't say this very often after losses, but I'm actually encouraged by what I saw last night because, look, it ain't going to get any better when you're talking about the teams that we're playing. This team that we're playing in the Phoenix Suns very easily can win the NBA title. I mean, they are built for it. There are no weaknesses, and the Pels are going to play them at least 4 times. It's just, there's no negatives to talk about, man. I mean, there really is. This is just, you got to enjoy the ride, and we're enjoying it.
Todd Graffagnini is with us, radio voice of the Pels, of course, on Twitter at @NTGraff. Y'all go give him a follow. Game 2 will be tomorrow night in Phoenix. I know Willie Green was asked if they might change rotations or anything like that. Are you expecting any type of Any type of changes for this matchup in particular against Phoenix and how the two teams do match up?
No, and he addressed it as well. I don't. Matt, we could not make a shot in the first half. We're looking at the stats after every media timeout, and we had turned it over one or two times in a quarter and a half, and could not make uncontested shots. It's a make or miss league, and we were not making them. Now, again, did fatigue have something to do with that? Possibly, but still, you got to make shots. And I think we saw what the Pelicans were capable of in the second half when you're talking about guys that started to get their rhythm going, and C.J. McCollum and Brandon Ingram had a decent first half, but he was really defended well by Mikal Bridges, and C.J. McCollum was defended well by Mikal Bridges. I don't see a whole lot of changes other than hopefully we're going to make some shots, which is pretty basic. But look, we out-rebounded them big time in that game yesterday. Jonas Valanciunas had 25 rebounds. Here's a stat for you, Matt. We took 95 shots last night. We had 95 field goal attempts. That's incredible. But we shot 38%. You got to score. Phoenix is really, really good, but you held them to 110 points. It's not like they ran you out of the gym.
Yeah.
So here's the best part. You know what they're going to bring from a physical sense. Okay, I think we were a little overwhelmed in a physical sense, even though those two games against San Antonio and the Clippers were physical. It was nowhere near what we saw last night. So I think now this is the good part about series. You make the adjustment of what you saw last night, and you go from there tomorrow night. So we'll see what happens, because there should be no more surprises. And look, these two teams literally mirror each other because Willie Green said a couple days ago, we run everything Phoenix runs offensively and defensively. I mean, Willie Green was here for 2 years under Monty Williams. He was his top assistant. There are no surprises. They're just a little bit better when you're talking about top to bottom on their roster. But look, they've been through it. Phoenix has been through it. This is what the Pelicans aspire to be. Phoenix is there. I mean, they should have won the NBA title a year ago. This is pretty much the same team. They added Torrey Craig and Landry Shamet, but those guys really weren't factors last night. Their core is an NBA championship team, and that's what you're going up against.
You took was going to be my final question, so I'll ask it a different way about Willie Green. In what way materially did you notice Willie Green having been on that staff, and how the teams might mirror each other?
It's just the way that both teams play. They mirror their coaches. I mean, they play very, very hard. It's a very close-knit group. Everything that Willie Green has done in New Orleans has basically mirrored what he's seen Monty Williams do. And don't forget, too, Matt, that he was an assistant under Steve Kerr in Golden State. Willie Green has come from winning programs in the NBA, championship programs. The guy's got rings with Golden State. So it's just, it's fun to watch. There's so much respect between these guys, between Willie Green and Monty Williams. I mean, they literally love each other like brothers. And that's why it's so fun, because you go to these LA games that we've done and the Lakers, and it's such a petty thing. And we love pettiness in New Orleans. It is totally the opposite, Matt, when you're talking about playing the Suns. It's an ultimate respect level on both ends. And the storylines write themselves. I mean, you think that Willie Green and Chris Paul were teammates in New Orleans the last time the Pels were in the playoffs in 2010, 2011, they were teammates. You can't even draw this stuff up. It's unbelievable, the parallels. But I'm just looking forward to seeing how we're coming out tomorrow night. I really do. I think that, everyone around, across the nation is picking the Pels to get swept. I would be shocked if the Pels did not win at least one game. I would be absolutely shocked. I think the goal right now is just to get back to Phoenix for Game 5. That's the immediate goal. other than trying to win tomorrow night.
They'll tip it late tomorrow, 9 o'clock Central. Of course, you can hear it on 100.3 ESPN New Orleans. Todd Graffagnini, radio voice of the Pels. Have a great call tomorrow, Graff. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, be well. It's after further review. We'll wrap up hour number 2 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. All right, Easter is behind us now. We are in the throes of spring. Summer's right around the corner. Yes, it's always great to get in the garden and just plant something, but it's way nicer to get in the garden and just plant something when it's 83 with a relatively low humidity as opposed to 95 with 100% humidity. So take advantage of this weather now. Get by Clegg's Nursery. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Just plant something. Not sure what to plant? Doesn't matter. Ask someone with a blue shirt on over at Clegg's. They can help you. They get greenhouses with plants and trees and flowers arrive. Shipments arriving daily at all of their greenhouses, so the inventory stays stacked. You'll always have a beautiful selection, and if you're not sure what to plant, they can help you with what would look best at your home and the level of care that you can give. Clegg's Nursery. Remember, they're partnered with True Value Hardware Store. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit dreams come true. And this year, we need your help more than ever.
We've interviewed these incredible kids, and each and every one of their stories brings tears to our eyes.
To have a dream granted means more to these families than you'll ever know.
And it wouldn't be possible without your help.
Dreams Come True has been hit hard by the events of the past year.
So we ask for your support in helping this incredible cause.
Our Dreams Come True Radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Wrapping up hour number 2. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Todd Walker is going to be with us in about 11 minutes from right now. Obviously, Tigers get swept this weekend, but there's just you look at the SEC standing, it's bizarre to see the two Mississippi schools bringing up the rear in the SEC, to see the type of seasons that Auburn and Texas A&M are having. Certainly much to the surprise of many. Vanderbilt's at 7-8 in the league at the halfway point. So what do we make of the first half? How do we project the second half? We'll talk about that with Todd Walker again about 10 minutes from right now. Right now, Musso has Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
How about a different kind of Monday Night Football? The final USFL game of the week is going to be tonight. It was postponed from tomorrow. You might see a former LSU Tiger running out on the field tonight for the Tampa Bay Bandits. That is wide receiver Derek Dillon. The Bandits will be in action tonight versus the Pittsburgh Maulers. That game's going to be on FS1. You're into USFL football.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, me either.
No.
But somebody might be.
We're actually going to talk about that after the break. Right, it's about 5:30. Bottom of
Todd's coming up.
Yeah, Todd's next. We're not going to talk about USFL with Todd.
No.
Oh, maybe I can get a question in.
Big Todd Walker, big New Orleans Breakers guy.
Never know.
Could be. NBA playoffs action yesterday. The Atlanta Hawks took it on the chin against the Miami Heat. Skylar Mays contributed 5 minutes for the ATL. 1 of 1 from the floor, 2 points. Added a rebound as well in the losing effort for Atlanta.
1 of 1. All I can think is Jameis, 1 of 1.
Heard of him? He's been on the show.
Yeah. Yes.
Sunday night baseball last night. The San Diego Padres defeated the Atlanta Braves. Austin Nola was 0 for 2, but still found a way to be productive.
You were 0 for 2.
Drew a walk and drove in one of the San Diego Padres' 2 runs last night for his 7th RBI of the season.
Also did a fine job catching.
He did a fine job catching. Padres off to a really good start, actually. I'm kind of surprised.
Because of Austin Nola.
100 only because of Austin.
Yes.
I mean, Yu Darvish was pretty good last night, too, but...
Who was catching Yu Darvish?
Who was calling the game with Yu Darvish? Austin Nola was. All that. Jake Fraley and the Cincinnati Reds, they had much worse luck against the Dodgers than the Padres did against the Braves, but Fraley at the bottom of the order and in center field. 1 of 3 on the night. A run scored. Also struck out once. So 148 average so far for Jake Fraley. And then lastly, DJ LeMahieu last night, 2 for 3, or I should say yesterday afternoon, 2 for 3 for the Yankees. Also drew a walk. 321 average so far for DJ. So, I mean, look, he's kind of just doing what he does up there in the Bronx.
He is doing what he does, which is play baseball.
And hit the ball very well to all fields. And play anywhere on the infield you ask him.
We're not doing the Go DJ thing?
I forgot to cue it up until right after I got the DJ on the list, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's Tigers the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Gentlemen, let's be honest. We don't buy diamonds often. And especially that first time when you're going to buy that beautiful, sparkling diamond that's going to thrill her, that she'll look down at on her finger forever to commemorate your love and dedication to each other. When it's time to get engaged, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. It's where Baton Rouge and all of Louisiana goes to get engaged, and has for 40 years. What sets Lee Michaels apart is the Lee Michaels experience. You could buy a diamond most anywhere, but they have beautiful diamonds, the finest quality diamonds you'll find in the world, from diamond mines in India. And because they buy in bulk, they can give you a great price. But so many times, guys, I can remember buying a diamond whenever I was getting engaged. It was a very intimidating process. Don't be. Lee Michaels will make you feel comfortable with your purchase, and they'll make sure that you'll get a beautiful diamond that will thrill her forever. lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They want to be your jeweler for life. lmfj.com. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. As we mentioned, Todd Walker is going to be with us coming up after Sports Center. Talked to Todd a lot about not just LSU, but the SEC as a whole. Tiger baseball got swept this past weekend, as you well know, but a good opportunity to bounce back here in this weekend with Missouri coming in. Next hour, we're also going to hear a little bit from LSU defensive coordinator Matt House. He met with reporters on Thursday. We didn't have a chance to delve too deep into it, but last week we kind of went deep dive into what Mike Denbrock had to say about the offense and their progression. In about 20 minutes from right now, we'll flip it and hear what Matt House had to say and go a little deep dive into the defense, where not only are they trying to come back from 2 subpar seasons, but with a new scheme and a lot of new players, they're cross-training players at a lot of different positions. So who might we see in a different spot? What new faces might we see? That's all coming up. We talk a little bit about what Matt House had to say about the LSU defense when he met with reporters late last week. All right, that's coming up. Hour number 3 is Staring You Straight in the Face, brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Title sponsor of our Monday shows, Windows, Doors, Siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. Okay, quick break. Here comes SportsCenter, and then Todd Walker on the other side. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. Michelli.com since 1947. That means they are celebrating 75 years in business. Michelli Weighing and Measurement. If you are in an industry where you weigh or measure something, maybe it's the food service industry, maybe it's agriculture, maybe it's the petrochemical industry, just go to the website, tap the industries tab right there at the top, and you'll see all the industries that they serve. You weigh or measure something, their team will keep your scales and your measurement equipment running smoothly. This is going to help ensure quality control, diminish waste, increase efficiency, make you more profitable. Choose a business that's been around for 75 years, locally owned and operated as they've expanded across 11 states and 29 different calibration labs. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Online, Michelli.com.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. It should taste like beer. More taste, 96 calories. Miller Lite.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, look what I found! The motivation I needed to live healthier. My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but 2 NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, Front-to-Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Browns will sign cornerback Denzel Ward to a 5-year contract extension worth just over $100 million. At age 24, Ward will be the highest-paid corner in league history. In the NBA playoffs tonight, Game 2 for the 76ers and Raptors. Philly took Game 1, but ESPN's Kendrick Perkins says more importantly
is how they won the game. Joel Embiid shot 5 for 15 last night from the field. Other day from the field. James Harden was 6 for 17, and they won. They won on the backs of Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey.
Kendrick Perkins on First Take. Coverage of the Raptors and Sixers tips off at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Also tonight, Game 2 for the Jazz and Mavericks after Utah grabbed Game 1 on the road, and Game 2 for the Nuggets and Warriors. Minnesota State goaltender Dryden McKay, this year's Hobey Baker winner, gets a 6-month ban for doping from the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. He was tested because he was an alternate for the Beijing Olympics.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options. An easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. That's right.
Hour 3 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR. Presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Baseball Tigers, they get swept on the road this weekend at Arkansas. Did a lot of heavy lifting, pulling off the sweep on the road in Starkville, and basically undid all of that this weekend. Todd Walker, of course, former Tiger great, SEC Network, joined us to talk a little SEC baseball. T-Dub, how are you, man?
Good, man. What's happening?
Well, kind of juggling two different schools of thought here, man. Obviously, you go to Arkansas, and they're a really good team. So, there's no crime in losing a road series against a really good team. Flip side of it is I look and I say, man, are what the issues that ail LSU, are they even fixable this year? What do you think? How much better can LSU get in the second half of conference play?
Well, I'll simplify it for you, Matt. If they duplicate what they've done in the first half, so now we're halfway through the SEC schedule with 15 games. They got 15 more to go. If they go 14 and 16, so they get 14 wins in the SEC, and their RPI is where it is now at 26, they get in. And then at that point, it doesn't matter what you've done all year long. Nobody has any, fantasies that LSU's going to win the conference. They could win the tournament if they get in and play well. But ultimately, the goal is to get to the postseason. They duplicate what they've done already. 14 wins in the SEC, RPI at 26, they're in.
Todd, what do you think about how Jay Johnson and Jason Kelly have managed this pitching staff? The basically having to piece together all 3 days.
Yeah, and we kind of knew that going in, right? Blake Money's a second-year guy. Ty Floyd, who they probably expected more of, is a second-year guy. So they're young. I know you've heard that already, Matt, and that's kind of not really an excuse. But in this day and age, when you got fifth and sixth-year seniors playing college baseball, it matters, and especially if you're expecting Blake Money to be the ace as in his second year. Now, clearly he's done well, but he's not Landon Marceau. He's not, some of the aces we've had at LSU in the past, but he might get there. He's got some time, but it's crazy. And if you look at the stats alone, I mean, Vetmeyer, Reiselman, Collins, and Dutton are dealing.
Yeah.
Mikael Hilliard and Blake Money, their strike to walkout ratio is very, very good. You got three hitters in this lineup: Jacob Berry, K. Doty, and Dylan Cruz, with an OPS over 1. I mean, that's strong. So back to your original comment, there's two schools of thought. It's kind of weird. It's hard to in one area they're doing well. In the SEC, I think they're top 3 in as a staff in the SEC only. But on the other side, you get swept by Arkansas. You lose 2 out of 3 to A&M at home. You lose 2 out of 3 to Auburn at home. And you would say, well, they got Missouri and Georgia coming up in Baton Rouge, but they've lost 4 out of 6 at home.
Yeah.
So there can't be a whole lot of optimism there. But I think ultimately, back to what I originally said, what's your goal? Get into the postseason. If they do exactly what they've done, even though it's not great, they'll get in. And then at that point, whoever plays well wins, and that can happen.
Look, I mean, we saw Tigers go on the road for a regional last year, Eugene, and win it. So they've been. It's not what you want to do, but it obviously is a path that they've traveled. Todd Walker's with us, SEC Network. When you look at the second half of LSU's schedule, and I don't know if you've actually peered at it, but I'll get a top of the head reaction. We're home against Missouri, you're home against Georgia, you're at Bama, you're home against Ole Miss, you're at Vanderbilt. Can this team finish? Is it realistic to think this team can finish above 500 in conference play? They'd have to go 10-5, essentially, or 9-6 the rest of the way.
You know what's crazy, Matt? Out of all those teams you just mentioned, the team I like the most is Bama. At Bama, that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Georgia, lost their ace. Jonathan Cannon's been hurt, but he might be back for what is that, week 7?
Right, not this weekend, but next.
Yeah, week 7. So he might be back. That's their ace. He's one of the best in the conference. Yeah, they can win 10. But again, what difference does it make? All at that point it matters is seeding. If you get 13 wins in the SEC, I don't know if you get in. There have been teams that have done it.
LSU
but
did
the
it last
magic
year.
Number, correct.
Yeah.
You can't. It can happen, but you're really hoping that the committee votes you in.
Right.
But 14 wins, 15 wins in the SEC with a good RPI, you're in. So what difference does it make if they win 14 or if they win 17? They're not going to win the conference. Seeding a little bit, but ultimately you just want to get in.
Okay. Look at the rest of the league. It's somewhat baffling to see the Mississippi schools at the bottom of the West. What's happened there, particularly with Ole Miss, Todd, who at one point was number 1 in the country?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I had the very first game of the SEC schedule was Ole Miss and Auburn on that Thursday night.
Oh, yeah.
The opening weekend, I had them. And you could go look it up. I don't remember the score, but it was 15-6, something silly, Matt. And then that whole series was football scores. And so I thought to myself, I love Bianco. Tim Elko's a nice story for Ole Miss. They got a nice offense. But, man, baseball is all pitching. I mean, you got to be able to throw it. I don't know if they've got it. And that's what's ended up playing out. They just don't have the arms.
13.
And Mississippi State lost a lot of guys. And, of course, they lost Landon Sims, one of the best in the conference as well. So when you lose your ace, it's tough.
13-6, 19-5, and 15-2 were the 3 finals
Yeah,
in that Auburn Ole Miss series. By the way, are you buying Auburn?
Yeah, I mean, how can you not like that staff? I mean, Tim Hudson, 15 years in the big leagues. Gabe Gross, played in the big leagues, and I love Bush Thompson and what he brings to the table. Their staff's a little weak too. You guys got to see him firsthand in Baton Rouge. Trace Bright's pretty good. He's got a little experience, but as a whole, their staff won't excite you either. And they kind of piece it together. I think they just they just out-coach people sometimes. I mean, they've got a great staff. So Auburn's the same story. I think they're not going to win the conference. They will get in the postseason. And then at that point, as you saw, Arkansas is a great example last year. Number one in the country, won everything, all 10 series, won the SEC tournament, wins the first game of the Super Regional 21-2, and in 48 hours, their season's over after playing 3.5 months because they lost 2 in a row to NC State in the Super Regional. So it just depends on how you play at that point.
It's so bizarre, but it's also why the postseason in college baseball is so much fun, because there is that element of unpredictability. If you go play bad ball back-to-back days, your season comes to an end. What about I know I'm asking you more about the bottom feeders, Todd, because that's maybe the bigger surprise, like Vanderbilt at 7-9. I mean, Tim Corbin had built a machine in Nashville. What's gone wrong there?
Well, they lost Rocker and they lost Leiter. So
Man,
you lose 2 aces.
But Todd, like throughout the last decade, man, it's just been one after another of those guys, right? I mean, didn't it feel like just Rocker and Leiter were just the necks in the long line of?
Yeah, and that's a great point, because we talk about coaching and is that coach any good, or that coach? Well, did he put on a hit and run at the right time? Did he pull the pitcher at the right time? But ultimately, it's recruiting. Like, who do you got in there? And I haven't had Vanderbilt this year, but I know their staff has underperformed. I think they had guys in line that they expected to do well that just haven't. And, look, Vanderbilt's going to be there too. I mean, SEC generally gets 10 teams in the postseason, and Vanderbilt will be in it, but they don't have what they had last year, both offensively and on the mound. But they're just trickling along. They started out against Missouri, swept them, so you thought, all right, here's the real Vanderbilt. Then they get beat 2 out of 3 by South Carolina, who's proven to not be very good this year either. So it's been erratic. SEC's been erratic as a whole, Matt. That's what's been crazy. Look at the polls that just came out. Usually we have 4 or 5 teams in the top 10. Well, you got Tennessee and Arkansas, and that's about it. And then after that, you got Florida and LSU and Georgia and Ole Miss and all them, in the late teens. So the rest of the country, I think, has caught up a little bit, or maybe the SEC just isn't as strong this year.
Yeah, you and I have been talking for about 10 minutes. I haven't even asked you about Tennessee yet. I mean, is it even worth asking? Like, is there anything that can stop that freight train this year?
33-3.
It's insane.
They've had a couple tests. They had a midweek game a couple weeks ago. They ended up winning 5-1. But we talked to Tony Vitello, and he said, "You know what? We didn't play well. That's the worst I've ever seen us play." Now it was, I don't even know who it was. It was I'm drawing a blank, but it was it wasn't high competition. But he said we played terrible and won, and he said I like the way we fought through that. And the second test was they lost the first game to Alabama this past weekend, and one more and they lose the series, and the kid's probably a little down. They come back and win the next 2 pretty convincingly.
Yeah.
So that's why I know that Tennessee's real. They got 2 freshmen on the weekend starting and a sophomore, and the 2 freshmen are from Tennessee. See, so if you've got 2 that happen to be really, really good out of Baton Rouge, for example, and they're going to clearly go to LSU, well, that makes a difference. And so they happened upon Beam and Chase Burns, who both are from Tennessee. They go to Tennessee, of course, and they're dealing on the weekends. Then they got Dolander as a Georgia Southern transfer, who they played against last year, and Dolander dealt on them, even though Georgia Southern ended up losing. But they said if he goes in the transfer portal and they get him.
Yeah.
And they got Blake Tidwell, who won 10 games last year on the weekends. He's not even starting for them. They got a kid that throws 100 miles an hour out of the pen. They've got the closer that has yet to walk a guy. We're almost halfway through the season, hadn't walked anybody. So when you go back to LSU, I look at walks and errors, right? So in Mississippi State, game 1 and 3, they didn't walk anybody. I think they walked one guy, but they made 0 errors. So they won those 2. The middle game at Mississippi State was kind of an outlier, and they ended up winning that game. Then in Arkansas, in games 1 and 3 against a really good team, they walked 9 guys, game 1 and 3 combined, and I think they made 2 or 3 errors. And it doesn't sound like much, but you can't do that against Arkansas and win. So they had a clean series against Mississippi State. This past weekend in Fayetteville, not so much.
Let's hope they clean it up this week against Missouri, because it feels like it's one that's gettable, if I can use that word. And Lord knows, Lord knows they need it. Todd Walker, SEC Network on Twitter at Todd Walker12. Y'all go give him a follow. TW, we always appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes.
Hey, and I'll tell you one more thing. Missouri can hit. Watch out. Now they can hit a little bit. They just beat Kentucky 2 out of 3. I had them 2 times this past weekend, so they're not a pushover.
Well, I watched them against Tennessee, and they were. I guess it was the Saturday game, man. I think they were leading that game 6-4 maybe, and then Tennessee had a grand slam, because of course Tennessee had a grand slam. But yeah, man. I mean, they at least they put up. I'll say this, man. They went to Knoxville and at least put up a fight, man. So nothing in this league is given, as time has certainly shown.
That's right. But you're gonna learn a lot about LSU in the next few weeks for sure. But I mean, on paper, there's nothing wrong with them. I mean, again, the numbers are great. They just got to play.
Todd, we always appreciate it, man. Thanks as always.
All right, man. We'll see you.
We'll see you. That is Todd Walker. This is After Further Review. Let's talk some LSU football. By the way, Corey Kiner, who entered the transfer portal earlier today, he's already chosen his destination. We'll get to that in just a second. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of LSU Athletics. Rouse's, where this feels like home. Love going into Rouse's. The selection is amazing, whether you go on the right side to the grocery part, or you walk in and you go to the left side where you'll see the meat market, where you'll see the seafood market, where you'll see all of the great cook-to-order prepared meals, the charcuterie. It's awesome. No matter what you're looking for, Rouse's. And, by the way, of course, at Rouse's, they have curbside pickup. So you can go to the Rouse's app. To do this, go to the App Store, Google Play, download the Rouse's app. You could do your shopping on the app. They'll go pick up the items for you and bring it out to your vehicle so you can have curbside to go. And if you can't get to Rouse's, they'll also deliver your groceries. Download the Rouse's app. Learn more how Rouse's has made shopping more convenient than ever. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of LSU Athletics.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with 0% for 72 months. Shop our inventory or custom order your Ram with $2,000 bonus cash and a 1,000,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Well, earlier today, LSU running back Corey Kiner announced that he was entering the transfer portal. Did not take long for him to announce his destination. If this wasn't predetermined, they've already got the video made. Corey Kiner's going home. He'll be a Cincinnati Bearcat. He, of course, signed with LSU out of Cincinnati, and now he's headed home. So, good luck to Corey Kiner, who's headed to be a Bearcat. And that's interesting. This graphic has the Cincinnati logo at the bottom with the Big 12 logo. I thought Cincinnati wasn't joining the Big 12 for like another 3 years. Anyway, well. Maybe if Corey Kiner goes and plays out all... Yeah, like the jersey has the American Athletic logo on. Like, what are we talking about? It's got the Big 12 logo at the bottom, and he's got the American Athletic logo on his jersey. Anyway, whatever. So Corey Kiner is going to Cincinnati. If you missed it, if you're just joining us, I opened the show talking about the Kiner news. So if you're watching on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel, just go back to the very beginning of the show. You'll see our comments there. If you're watching on the YouTube, as always, subscribe to the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel and smash the like button. We appreciate that. Helps all of our shows. Corey Kiner, we talked about Kiner in hour one. We had Nick Pontiff with us in hour two. Graff joined us from Phoenix. You just heard Todd Walker as well. AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. If you miss anything, you can always catch it on demand at 1045ESPN.com or the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. We appreciate our friends at Breck, great sponsors of the show. Get out and play some golf. Choose a great Breck golf course, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. One of the things that Brian Kelly has done since he's taken over is I love the access. Of course, as a media member, I love the access. He's made his coordinators available as well. And late last week, Matt House was made available to reporters to talk about the defensive side of the ball and how all of this is going. Can we start with 15, please? This is talking about the defensive install that Matt House has done so far through the first 3 weeks of spring drills.
You know, what we're trying to do in spring ball, to be honest with you, is we're trying to install concepts. All right, we're not trying to put our whole defense in. That's not what we're trying to get good at certain things. And then for us as coaches, it's a measurement as to how much volume we can carry when we get into fall camp. So, you know, I would say that it's kind of a moving target. We got a lot to clean up yet.
Now, one of the things that I'm going to be very interested in watching is remembering that this is a coach that's coming from the NFL. And sometimes there's obviously a difference, right? Just in dealing with college kids as opposed to dealing with professionals. That's one. There's the recruiting aspect. But also, I'm always interested in what concepts NFL coaches bring. I'm going to segue in a second, but here was Matt House talking about the difference in sort of building a foundation in college as opposed to the pros.
I think the biggest thing that's different is you're dealing with all different levels of experience of guys playing, right? You know, I think building the unity of a team and building the locker room, I think those things aren't a whole lot different. But certainly the football acumen is different, right? You're trying to build that along with the techniques and fundamentals needed.
Okay, so building the techniques, lots of different skill levels, as he alluded to there. But one of the other things, you know, as far as concepts is or excuse me, I should say, is concepts. And one of the things that he did in Kansas City was he had this position he called a jack linebacker. And we're seeing a lot of guys play in that role. B.J. Ojolari is a guy who, during his time at LSU, has been standing up. He's had his hand in the dirt. He's come off the edge. He's dropped back. They've used him a lot of different ways. Here was Matt House talking about how they're using B.J. Ojolari standing up as an outside linebacker.
To be honest with you, it's not that far off from what he was doing. I mean, he was a defensive end in a two-point stance, and in our scheme, he's similar. He's a defensive end. He's just playing out of a two-point stance. You know, at times we ask that guy to drop. At times we ask him to rush. We rush him a lot more than anything else.
B.J. Ojolari is one of those guys that I think probably has the opportunity this year to be not only an all-conference but an all-America type player. In the right defense, when his skill set now is a third-year player, coming off the edge, as a disruptor, he is going to have the opportunity to make a lot of big impact plays. And when you think about the way Kansas City's defense has been built with all of those great pass rushers, it kind of feels like you're looking for those types of bodies. You're even seeing some sets where you're getting the big bodies or edge rushers on the interior as well. Like they're kicking a guy like Mason Smith down inside. Now you have a Mason Smith, and you'll have Ali Gay maybe on the inside as well to get more speed and edge rushers on the field. And one of those guys is Savion Jones, and then Xavier Carter as well as someone who's also playing that role. Two young guys that Matt House talked about was Quincy Wiggins, the freshman out of Baton Rouge, and the aforementioned Savion Jones, two guys who could be those impact guys coming off the edge.
I've seen great growth in Quincy. You know, you got to remember that he just enrolled in school 2 months ago, but he's improved a bunch. Savion's really blossomed. Excited about both those guys and what they can be, but they're both working and they're both growing. Not displeased with either one.
Also, not too elaborative about either of them, but when you look at practice film, when you read the reports, those are the types of guys that I'll throw Xavier Carter in there as well, as guys that they really seem to like in that outside role, as guys that could be disruptors coming off the edge. For me, one of the big questions coming into this year was linebacker. I think linebacker, cornerback are hand-in-hand on the defensive side as the two spots defensively that have the biggest questions. Typically, if I'm projecting for a season, I'll say, okay, who has the fewest questions against the most manageable schedule? When you look at LSU, I think receiver, you're deep and talented. Defensive line, you're deep, experienced, and talented. Safety, same thing. Can't say the same about linebacker. You've added bodies. You've added Colby Fields from South Carolina. You added West Weeks from Virginia. You got Harold Perkins, the 5-star, coming in. But as far as experience, you don't have a ton of it. Here was Matt House talking about his linebackers, again, the position he coaches.
Well, number one thing is they're willing workers, willing learners. They're willing on the field. They're not scared to put in extra work. And that's the first thing, right? And there is some talent. Right, they wouldn't be here if there wasn't some level of talent. Maybe not a lot of playing experience, but there is some talent, and with willing guys, we'll get something out of them.
He alluded to it there. There's talent, not a lot of experience, but they're willing. So that also means that there's great opportunity. One of the bigger surprises, though, is the guy who has the potential to be the 100-tackle guy in this defense and was the most obvious to just elevate into that role is Micah Baskerville. You've got Damone Clark going off to the NFL. Baskerville's the most logical to step into that role. Instead, what we've seen really is Greg Penn and Mike Jones running as the first-team linebackers, and Micah Baskerville's been running second team. Here was Matt House on Baskerville.
Micah's improved. He's got to keep improving, and he will. I really don't look at it. I told those guys, and don't read too much into who's running out there when the first group goes and who runs out there with the second group right now, right? Because don't look at where you're at in a line. The reality is all that matters is when you line up against Florida State, and we're going to need more than 11, I can promise you.
That's fair to say, and it's easy to say, but of course you're going to worry about who's going out there first. Baskerville's a guy that we all thought was going to be the leader of this room. He's your leading returning tackler, and the fact that he's not the most obvious leader of this defense, makes you go, what's up there? So that's a guy that this Saturday for the spring game, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on 23. I want to see when he plays, how he plays, because he's a guy that at the end of 2020 helped stabilize things when you were awful under Bo Pelini. When he went in, he was one of the guys that when Jabril Cox was struggling, they kicked Jabril Cox to the outside, put Baskerville in the middle, and that stabilized things. And last year, Baskerville and Damone Clark were a really good 1-2 punch in the middle. And Damone Clark was, I think, the best linebacker in college football last year. And it just seems natural that Baskerville would be the next guy up. We'll see if that manifests. We'll get a look at him this weekend. And then the other part, I mentioned defensive line that I think is really good. Safety is another position where I think they're deep and talented, so much so that they have the luxury of taking some of their safeties and trying to cross-train them as outside cornerbacks. Here was Matt House on his safety group.
Coach Cook's done a good job with those guys. We got good competition in that room right now. And those guys are pushing each other and getting better. And, you know, as we progress, I've seen those guys play things tighter and cleaner. Not where we want to be, but certainly it progressed a lot over the past 3 weeks.
Not where we want to be. I don't think anything in the defense is going to be where they want to be. But when Jordan Tolles leaves the safety room and is working at cornerback, that tells you a lot about their numbers at safety. Like if you're, and also your deficiency at corner, but if you're willing to take a player away from a position group, it largely says we have enough bodies here that we don't need this guy here. That's a good thing. I mean, when you know you've got Jay Ward and Major Burns, who's not even out there, you've added Greg Brooks and Joe Fouché, you've got Langlois, who they like in spots, mentioned Tolles and Davis and Sage Ryan. You have numbers there. You are good there. So how do those guys that need to fit their roles and who moves the corner? As I mentioned, Tolles has taken reps at corner. Jay Ward has played corner in his career as well, because that right now feels like the biggest weakness on the defensive side of the ball. And it's so odd to say it because of the DBU reputation, but Robert Steeples has a really big job, not only replacing Corey Raymond, but replacing Derek Stingley, Elias Ricks, Dwight McGlothern. Your top three cornerbacks in that room are all gone. And the guys you have returning haven't played a lick. Now you got two transfers in Mekhi Gardner and Jarek Bernard-Converse, but now Jarek Bernard-Converse is out with a fracture in his foot. You need answers at that position. Where are they going to come from? Matt House was not very talkative when he was asked about Robert Steeples in the cornerback room.
Put a guy in front of him, you go roll out there, he'll coach you up. I mean, he loves to coach, he loves to teach. I don't think it matters who's out there. As long as you have a helmet and a uniform, he's going to get you ready to practice and play.
That's really good coach speak. That's a really good job of trying to fire people up without saying a darn thing. But if you're going to watch anything this spring game on Saturday, watch LSU's receivers, which are, I think, wouldn't we all agree that LSU's receivers, that is a dominant position group, even without Kayshon Boutte? Can we all agree on that? Like, if you run through the list and you're talking about Malik Neighbors and Jack Besh and you bring in Kyron Lacey and you got Brian Thomas, like, that is an elite group of SEC receivers. See how your cornerbacks fare against them. Because that's how it's going to look every week in the SEC. And that's without Kayshon Boutte. That's how it's going to look every week in the SEC. That'll be a very good indicator of where this group is, how far they have to go. And I'll grant you, there's going to be no Jarek Bernard-Converse. He's expected to be a starter. But if you think you're getting through the whole season with two cornerbacks, you're kidding yourself. So let's see who maybe steps up this weekend in the spring game. Some interesting comments. Word will come eventually. Some interesting comments there from LSU defensive coordinator Matt House. He's making his way through his first spring as well. I don't think we're going to get any super defined answers to anything 3 weeks into spring football with a new coaching staff. Don't misunderstand me. But we're at least seeing how they're doing things, what they value, and it can start to lead to answers to piecing the puzzle together for the fall. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by DraftKings. Man, NBA playoffs have started, y'all. NBA playoffs have started. DraftKings, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, they always got a deal for you. But, man, this deal for the NBA playoffs, how about this? Bet just $5 on an NBA playoff game. Bet just $5. Win or lose, they'll give you $150 in free bets on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. How about that? Bet just $5. they'll give you 150 in free bets, but you've got to use the promo code Baton Rouge. So here's what you do. Go to the App Store, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge, and they'll give you $150 in free bets right now at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. DraftKings, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full terms and conditions. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-7-STOP. All right, it's After Further Review. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Speaking of gambling, the Otter will be here in a little more than 10 minutes from right now. A little Otter locks. See what the Otter likes in the NBA playoffs tonight. Dude has been in fuego. The Otter's been giving you first half unders. And if I'm not mistaken, they have been perfect through the play-in and the playoffs so far. I'll get Otter to clarify when he's with us a little more than 10 minutes from right now. But we'll get some Otter locks for you coming up here shortly. All right, it's After Further Review. Quick break. Stay here. We'll continue.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, powered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. Remember, Darren James has his Love It or Leave It program. And I point this out because I actually know people that this happened to, where they bought a home and they had to move within a year for whatever reason. Either it got transferred for a job or something like that happened. Darren's Love It or Leave It program, if you buy a home and you have to move within a year for whatever reason, he will sell your home for free for his half of the commission. Just another way that Darren James brings exceptional customer service to the home buying and selling experience. And that is why Darren ends up on the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1,000 realtors in America. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s, plus $500 bonus cash. We have new 2022 F-150s on our lot now. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Spring clean your garage with the newer pre-owned vehicle from Corval Toyota. It's an easy process to pre-order your next vehicle with us. So reserve yours today. Come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
So the USFL did debut this weekend to a total audience of 3 million for the game between the Generals and the Stallions. By comparison, when the AAF debuted, it drew 2.9 million for its CBS debut on a Saturday. The XFL in 2019 debuted with 3.3 million on a Saturday afternoon in 2020. So pretty comparable first weekend audience. I would say, though, the biggest question, as some have said, it's more indicative based on the attendance. I would flatly disagree. Do you know how many times we have talked about bowl games with no fans in the stands? I mean, that is such a common thing. There's a Twitter account, Empty Seats Galore. If you've never seen it, they just tweet pictures of sporting events with empty seats. Like, this is a Royals game. It's like a Major League Baseball game. There's nobody there. Like we talked about last week, there was like 100 people at a Reds game. So I'm not going to go so far as to say if there's, if the stadium is empty, which it was empty. I think they're at Legion Field in Birmingham. Like, I'm not going to go so far as to say if the stadium's empty that they can't be successful, because we've seen it plenty. Bowl games are the best example of that. If you have a TV partner and you have a sponsor, you can make money, and as long as you're making money, you're going to continue playing. I also think that playing all of the games in one city cripples it because there's no connectivity in the city. If the New Orleans Breakers were playing, let's say, at Yulman in New Orleans, you don't think they could put 10,000 people at Yulman Stadium to watch a Breakers game? I think they could. I think you find 10,000 people in the city, 5,000 people in the city that might be interested in that. But they're playing in Birmingham. No one's from New Orleans going to travel to Birmingham to watch a USFL game. But there's two things primarily, like bowl games. Number one, is it accessible on TV? And it is. And it's never been more accessible now because of streaming options and everything like that. Number two, can you gamble on it? And if you can gamble on it and you can find it on TV, you will find people who are interested. I'm not going to say you're going to pull in NFL type numbers. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be a juggernaut. But my God, like, the NHL has survived. I don't mean in any way to be dismissive, but I'm just saying, like, there are major sports, like you have the NFL, you have Major League Baseball, and you have the NBA, and then you have the LPGA, which has a TV deal as well. The networks are so starved for content that if you give them hours of live content that fills large blocks of programming, and you find a way to be appealing, then yeah, it's never going to go gangbusters. But my goodness, you've drawn 3 million people on a Saturday. It's a huge number, relatively speaking, for that. So good on them. They can make it work. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. A new and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, southpointvw.com. Southpointvw.com. 9 different IIHS top safety picks. Of course, you could shop them online. You can go test drive a brand new Volkswagen at South Point Volkswagen. You know where they are. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. My family and I are proud Volkswagen owners. Erica drives an Atlas. I drive an Atlas. And I couldn't be more thrilled. We've owned a lot of Volkswagens over the last 10 years. But no matter what it is, if it's a Jetta, a Passat, the Tiguan, which is the compact SUV, the Atlas, the 3-row 7-seater family SUV, they have a model for you. It's at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Before we grab our final break and talk to Ott for little Otter Locks, Brian Kelly, when he met with reporters after practice on Saturday, gave an update on John Emery, twisted ankle, could actually be back this week for the spring game. I don't know that they're going to rush him back. He also said that for the structure of the spring game, it's going to be offense against defense because they just don't have enough bodies to put together two teams, which that's fine. Quite honestly, the thing that I want to see most from the spring game is ones-on-ones. So I would rather see the full first-team offense against the full first-team defense than some mishmash hodgepodge. Like, if you're an offensive lineman, and you've been playing but like next to two dudes for every rep, and now all of a sudden you're going to switch it up on teams, like it matters. Continuity matters. So yes, let me see the first team offense against the first team defense. I absolutely want to see that. But maybe the biggest talking point, as everyone's talking about the quarterbacks, is Brian Kelly talking about Garrett Nussmeier, who is trying to thrust himself into what appears to be a two-man race and make it a three-man race.
It's much more about the technical things. Look, there is a young man that has got an incredible amount of confidence. He's gonna fit it in the phone booth throws as well as anybody that I've been around. He's got the makeup of a great quarterback. But there's been, this development technically that has been, I think from my perspective, nice to see, as we've gone through the spring. And he's doing a really nice job. Yeah.
Something else worth watching this Saturday at the spring game. All right, it's after further review. We're going to knock out our final break at the Auto Locks. I do want to remind you, so tomorrow is the Pontiff Classic. Thanks to Nick Pontiff, who joined us last hour. Our group over at Hudco Roofing, we are going to have a tailgate set up. And actually, Rodney Beloso, Cade Beloso's dad, works with us at Hudco, and he does Hot Rods Creole. So he's going to be cooking a gigantic pot of jambalaya. So it's free for anybody that wants to come by. So it'll be in the bullpen parking lot close to the Marucci Baseball Performance Center, like basically down the right field line. So if you look for the Hudco tent, just swing on by, see Hot Rod. Terry will be out there. I'll be on air, but Terry will be out there. Hot Rod will be out there. Come by, grab a bowl of jambalaya, something cold to drink, and maybe a Hudco koozie or Hudco hat while supplies last. We'll be out there tomorrow for the Pontiff Classic. So looking forward to a great day. And, of course, if you need a roof repair, roof replacement, soft wash, we do it all at Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you every single day, do business with someone you know. That's me, that's Terrio, that's Richard Tilley, that's Rodney Beloso, our guy Hot Rod, Sam Hay, Mr. Ron Richmond. Come by and see us tomorrow for the Hudco tailgate at the Pontiff Classic near the Marucci Performance Center. So it's down the right field line in the bullpen lot. Hope to see you there. Hudco Roofing. Do business with someone you know. HudcoRoofing.com. All right, we will knock out our final break of the show. Otter Locks is next.
AFR.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorns in stock with 0% for 72 months. Shop our inventory or custom order your Ram with $2,000 bonus cash and a 1,000,000-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, Front-to-Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to front-to-backboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front-to-Back Boat Service.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier.
My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment, Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do. Let's find out we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Bocage Barbershop in Bocage Village. Serving the Bocage, Goodwood, and Town Center area since 1959.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, James Ott. Otter, how are you?
Hey, buddy. How you doing? How's your weekend?
Way too much salt from the crawfish. I'm a puffy cloud right now, but I would love to just go sit in a steam room for an hour and just sweat out all of this stuff. But I'll take it like a man. I'll just drink a lot of water and wait for it to pass.
There you go. Life is tough, huh?
No, I'm not saying it's tough. You just asked, so I was just answering your question. That's all. Hey, man, what are we looking at tonight?
When we last left you, we were betting the first half under.
And you have been crushing it.
First games, yeah. So the first games, teams involving their first playoff game. So once they get to the Friday night, Pels, Clippers. So both of those teams have played a game, okay? Mm-hmm. So you eliminate that. But if you did it from Tuesday through Sunday, first half in any games, all of them, they were 11-3. And the ones that we did first game only, like yesterday, the only one, both teams were first game they were playing in the postseason, Bucks Bulls, 7-1. 7-1 in the first half. It would have been 5-3 for the game. So when these games turn into a rout, as some of them have in this first week of the playoffs, the scoring goes up because they just kind of relax and get back to, instead of grinded mode, tough defense, they're just playing, they're just kind of going through the motions, and the scoring goes way up. So really good right there. We're looking at it. We're looking at the NBA, concentrating on there tonight. In one of those games, the one game that involved the two teams, their first game, that went over in the first half was 76ers and Raptors. Well, they are pouring in on the over as well. Dig a little deeper into this game. Pace of play was the same as the Jazz and Mavericks. They just shot ridiculous. 76ers, it's not sustainable for them to shoot 50% from three anymore. And even with the Raptors getting blown out, their efficiency rating was way above average. I just think it resorts back to the mean tonight. We're going first half under in the Philly Raptors game. That's at like 112 is what I'm looking at Bet Rivers. So you check that one out. First half under in that game. Jazz Mavericks. We're going to go with the Mavericks here. Jazz did beat them. It was very close to the number. Depends on what you got. Hey, 5.5. If you had 5.5, like most people did, you buy the 6 like I did on Saturday. It turns a loss into a push. I'm going with the Mavericks here. I think that the Jazz is still a team with a lot of issues. Yeah, I think this thing is, I think the Pels can maybe win a game. Not quite 2, I don't think. But they're going to be competitive. But this thing is really setting up for the Phoenix Suns because the Jazz are not a great team. Luka Doncic is playing in a series. This would be – they wouldn't have a chance the other way. But anyway, I think the Mavericks can stay close. Desperate spot, a little zigzag, if you will, with the Mavericks plus 5 at home. And in Golden State, we're going recency bias over zigzag here. Hey, they blew out the Nuggets, and Steph Curry was okay. That hamstring's just going to loosen up a little bit more. He's going to get back in tune. And this is a deal where if you want to end-game it, when Luka goes to the bench, race to your cell phone.
All right.
Race to it. Warriors, Mavericks, under first half 76ers.
I got to run. Have a great show. We'll talk to you tomorrow. That'll do it for AFR.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about the aesthetic medicine and anti-aging clinics of Louisiana, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. Y'all, beach and pool season are almost here. If you're looking in the mirror going, man, I got to get right, they can help you. Ideal Protein, if you need to shed some pounds, they can do it. Maybe you got those trouble areas that diet and exercise just can't take care of. VeloShape, UltraShape. Also, great deals on Vaser Lipo. That is a minimally invasive procedure with no downtime. Dr. Todd Howell has won national awards for that procedure. You can learn more at theantiagingclinics.com. Bluebonnet, Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. Laser hair removal. Gents, if you need to lose some of the body hair so you don't look like a woolly mammoth, laser hair removal is a great option. Bluebonnet, Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com, the nation's #1 aesthetic practice, theantiagingclinics.com.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s, plus $500 bonus cash. We have new 2022 F-150s on our lot now. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit dreams come true. And this year, we need your help more than ever.
We've interviewed these incredible kids, and each and every one of their stories brings tears to our eyes.
To have a dream granted means more to these families than you'll ever know.
And it wouldn't be possible without your help.
Dreams Come True has been hit hard by the events of the past year.
So we ask for your support in helping this incredible cause.
Our Dreams Come True radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1990.